So there's been a lot of talk about Florida housing market, whether it's going to crash, it's going to fall, it's going to correct, all these things. In this video, I'm going to give you the 5 things that I think are either going to affect or are already affecting the Florida housing market. Stay tuned. So if you want to know everything there is about what it's like to live, work, eat, sleep, and play in the Palm Beaches of South Florida, then this is the channel for you. If you want to get a hold of us, you can give us a call, a text, an email. Heck, you can even send a message in a bottle, because that works too. Now, we get people reaching out to us every day, and we absolutely love it. So go ahead, give us a call, a text, an email, any way you want to get a hold of us. We got your back if you're thinking of moving to South Florida. Now, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, ring that bell down below, because we're putting out new content every week and you don't want to miss out on that.
Let's get this beach party started.
All right, so I've heard a lot of talk out there that the market's going to crash. It's crashing everywhere else. It's not going to happen here. So you really don't know who to believe. You don't know who's right, who's wrong. But I can give you my insight as an active realtor. I've already sold 15 homes this year. And I can tell you what's going on in the marketplace here. So this is what I see. One of the biggest things that I see, oh, by the way, we're coming to you from Singer Island. That's Riviera Beach in the Palm Beaches. We're just north of West Palm Beach, just south of the Juno, Jupiter, right by Palm Beach Gardens. And we're just sitting here on the beach in the dunes. They got the waves crashing. I got, birds hanging out there. I've got 5 things that I think are really going to affect the market. Number 1 is the insurance. And what I'm talking about there is homeowners insurance. It could be condo insurance, but usually the building has that, but their rates are going up. So even the condos, their insurance is going up. Homeowners insurance is going up. And I'm not talking about a little bit. So here's what they do. And this just happened to someone I know very well. They have their house, it's paid for. It's worth probably $500,000 down in Boynton Beach. She's been paying $3,000 annually for homeowners insurance. Now she gets a bill in the mail, and it's for, get this, $18,000.
What the hell?
They said, your roof is over 20 years old. You need to pay us $18,000.
What the hell?
Or we're going to drop you as an insured party. So what does she do? She goes and gets a quote for a roof, and guess how much that is? Yeah, you got it, $18,000. So she's going to be paying $18,000 one way or another on a house that's paid for. So they're basically, the insurance companies are strong-arming people. And her roof looks fine. I'm not a roofer, but it's not leaking, I know that. And she's paid her bills on time for the last, I think she's owned the house for over 20 years. And it's crazy. And so they're coming and saying, you must put a roof on. I kind of had the same thing happen to me in Illinois. They were on me for that too. I had an old cedar roof. And anyhow, the thing was like 35 years old. And it did look a little rough. But when I did finally break down and get a new roof, because the insurance company was after me too, and I asked the roofers after, when they were working on it, I said, hey, what did it look like under there? Was there any leaks or anything? They said, no, your roof was absolutely perfect underneath. There was no leaks, no water damage, no nothing. And here, it was perfectly fine, but because the insurance companies say, hey, you need a new roof, people have to get a new roof. That's a big cost, and if you don't have storm protection, that's another thing. Believe it or not, there's a lot of homes that have been here in South Florida. I was one in PGA National just the other day, and it's a single story, that's about, 8 miles from the beach, somewhere around there. And it wouldn't matter with a big storm, but been there for over 20 years, probably a 30-year-old house, and they don't even have storm protection. And they've never had it. So that's what you're seeing. You're seeing people get hit with this huge insurance costs that was unexpected. Another thing to keep in mind in insurance, besides your homeowner's insurance, auto insurance down here is astronomical. It really is. It's roughly 50% more than I was paying up in Illinois. And I'm a good driver.
Are you a good driver? Yes.
Yeah, he's a good driver and a good dancer too. But so if you're coming down here, you want to keep that in mind. You're going to pay more So your monthly expenses are going to be much higher with the insurance, with the auto and homeowners insurance. Number 2 on the big board is HOA fees. HOA and condo fees have gone up. And if they didn't go up, they will go up. And they've gone up anywhere from 30%, 50%. I've seen 100%. And obviously, yes, someone has to vote on that, and the board has to agree to it. But that's what's happening. And another thing on top of that, if you get into the condos, not so much single-family homes, but in the condos, they're hitting people with big-time special assessments. A lot of them, they need roofs. I just sold a villa that was like $275,000 down in Boynton. They have a $10,000 special assessment for a roof. My building that I'm in, we have a $10,000 special assessment over 240 units for new elevators. And a lot of these condos, they were behind. They did not have reserves. And so now they have to get reserves. They kicked the can down the road. How are they going to get reserves? They're going to put a special assessment. Or they got to raise the HOA. But they're so far behind, some of them, they have to do a special assessment to get caught up so they have money for major improvements.
Hasn't changed much, just cost more.
So that is one of the really big things is the HOA fees and the condo association fees. They're just, a lot of them are really going through the roof, especially the condos more than the single families. So that's something you want to keep in mind. So let's talk about taxes. So here's how the taxes work down here. In Palm Beach County, there's actually a cool thing I'm going to show you here. It's called it's the Palm Beach County real estate tax calculator, and you just put a number in there and it'll shoot out what your payments are going to be. So anybody, I'm going to put the link in my comments down below. If you're thinking about coming down here, you want to buy a house, or you're finding something online, don't go by what the taxes are now. You need to put what it is when you buy the house, and it'll give you the actual tax amount you're actually going to pay. And it'll give it for whether if you're buying as a second home, you're not going to be homesteaded. But if you're buying as a primary, you're going to get the homestead exemption. Now there's other types of exemptions too, but the main one is the homestead exemption. Everyone knows about that. There's stuff for seniors as well, but everyone knows about that. So once you're homesteaded, they can only raise your property taxes 3% a year. So while everyone else who sold their house and the new buyer came in, that rate's going to be at whatever it is. So to give you a $500,000 house, and I'm going to put in the calculator here, $500,000 home here in Palm Beach County in, I put 5 million. Okay, so 500,000. And this is a home that we're just buying outright. We just moved down to Florida. We don't have any homestead exemptions. You're going to get a tax bill of around $11,000. Now, if you get homestead exemption, it's going to be 10.3. All right. So that's the taxes in South Florida. Now, let's say you buy something for $750, right? Or say $700, whatever the price. You're looking at $15,000 if you don't have homestead, if it's a second home. $14,000 if it is, if you have homestead exemption. Let's say you sold a house for, let's say, $500,000, and you're buying something for, say, $700. So let's say your house is assessed at, say, $265, and I don't know if that's realistic or not, but anyways, we'll just say that. Now we're going to recalculate. So you sold your house for $500. You're buying one for $700, and now your taxes are only $9,600, opposed to being $14,000 or $15,000. That's a huge savings. So what that means, if you live in South Florida and you go and you want to move, or you live anywhere in Florida within the state, you get what's called portability, so you can take your exemption, your homeowner's exemption, with you. You don't lose it. You don't start from scratch as people coming into town would be doing. So it's a great deal. So the next thing is, number 4 on the list is interest rates. Now think about it. Interest rates were 3%, let's just say, 3.5. So let's say 3%, about a year ago, somewhere around there. And you could buy a $500,000 home. And if you're putting 20% down, which your loan amount would be $400,000, your principal interest on 3% would be roughly $1,200. That's just the principal and interest, not tax and insurance. Now, that same home, the principal interest now would be, putting the same amount down, it would be $2,400 a month or more, probably closer to $2,500. So what's that going to do? Well, if we have any kind of a downturn in the economy, anything, the people that are going to get hurt first are the people that put the least amount down and have large amount of leverage. So that's another thing that I see really happening, or could happen. You know, I don't know if it's now, 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years, I have no idea when. The people that pay cash, they're going to be okay. Go ride it out. It's not a big deal. And here's another thing I see, and a lot of people don't know this, but I know it. I've talked to a number of people this year, clients or just people I talked to or called. I don't have the stats to back it up, but I believe that there is a large number of people out there, a pool of people that are either still in forbearance, are just coming out of forbearance, and people that are just not even paying their mortgage. And the banks have not foreclosed on them. And I know this because I have inside information that they've been talking, a lot of these mid-range banks have been talking to agents, lining them up and handling their REO property. So that's just something that I know, and I believe it to be true because I have talked to a number of people that were either close to foreclosure, in foreclosure, but I don't know a lot of them that went totally into foreclosure and were you know, taken out of their house by the sheriff. So who knows what's going to happen. So if that does happen, if we have a mass amount of foreclosures, we're going to have rising inventory. And anytime you have rising inventory, you are going to, unless it gets gobbled up by the buyers, you are going to have dropping prices. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. The thing we do have right now going for us, there still is a big lack of inventory. And when properties come on the market, yes, it's taking a little bit longer for them to sell. They're not selling all in a day, but they're still selling. At least where I'm at in the Palm Beach, South Florida. You have a house, you price it at fair market value, you're going to sell it in a matter of, I would say a week or two. And if you're overpriced, the market's going to tell you. If you're underpriced, it's going to sell. If you're priced right at fair market value, it's going to sell. Things are still selling, this stat I do know, at around 94 to 95%, 96% of asking price. So they're not, once they got to the right price, they're usually selling about 5% of the asking price. Now last year, everything was selling at or above or close to it, So there's a little bit more, it's not like this full-blown buyer's market here. It's shifting, but not like it has maybe in other parts of the country. So, or maybe other parts of the state. But where I'm at in the Palm Beaches, the market is still pretty strong. So I hope this helped you out if you're thinking about coming down here and buying or selling real estate in the Palm Beaches. And if you have any questions about that, or you want to, check out some properties down here, you want to know something about, where are the best places to live, what communities are down here, new construction, resale, beachfront condos, whatever you want. I'm your guy. Give me a call, a text, an email. I'd be glad to help you find the best property for you and your family. I'm Ray Petric, your real estate expert.